One of the things that I always talk about, and this can go from any of those areas we just discussed, and going back to that cycle that you were talking about, is looking at things from a 1% point of view, and just think like each day, what can I do in all of those areas and add 1% to it? So it could be you're at your desk at work. It might mean that you at 3:00 you've been sat down for 6 hours. You get up and you go for a 5-10 minute walk, or it might mean that 1% might mean getting at least 2 liters of water in you, or it might mean going to bed half an hour earlier, or it might mean doing 10 minutes of breath work, or, if you start to look at them as really small, realistic goals, because I think when you, and this is, what I've gone through as well, is like when you look at it from a holistic point of view, you can go like, geez, like what, like where do I start? Like where am I trying to get to? How do I get there? And I think once you break it down into really small, little daily 1%, it makes it so much more achievable, and you don't worry too much about the end goal. You just worry about, okay, what's the 1% I can do today that will add value to my tomorrow? And then when you get to the tomorrow, what's the 1% I can add on top of that to add to the next tomorrow? And it just makes things a bit more achievable. And I think, like you said, when you break it down into either a cycle or little things like that, it's a lot easier to manage, a lot easier to start to add stuff to your day, to improve, to change. And you start to see over time that the small changes make a long-lasting improvement in your life, And I think that's like, it's changed a lot for me, like in my life. And I think it's super powerful, because we can get like, okay, you should be like doing 50 minutes of exercise. You should be having 8 hours of sleep. You should be, and it's like,
well, firstly, that's sheer arrogance, right? Yeah. It's like me telling you what you need to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's like me giving you a book now, right? You need to follow this.
Yeah.
When I have no idea about any of your cellular health, microbiome, any of that, what your energy is, all the things that might be affecting that. And again, like a movement practice, it's just sheer arrogance. It's really, I think by choosing that, like that incremental, just stage by stage by stage, and then choosing any of the systems, right? It could be, again, work on breath, and then try and bring breath into everything you do. Let's just create a bigger picture and say, right, this month it's breath. I'm going to bring breath into how I move, how I eat, how I sleep, how I digest, how I interact with others, my walk to the tube in the morning, my commute, how I approach the house in the evening when I arrive home, before I enter the door. I'm just going to focus on breath, and just choose one of them and just keep working through it. And, just that small change, it will have a massive impact.
Yeah,
right?
Huge. Yeah.
And never underestimate that. And then where you get to, you understand what it is you need. Yeah, and that's the key. I think we've lost sight of that there's the uniqueness, right? Exactly. We can't all be the same, right?
Yeah.
And it isn't, it won't unravel that way. Yeah. And it will be more stressful for you, because it might be that you're picking up on something and it's really making you empowered, and for me it's not. And then I end up with, why is it not working for me? And then that might end up, I tried that. Yeah. Didn't work for me. And then already I have a bad impression of something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's funny you said it, because I always have these conversations with people, because, people see the kind of content I'm creating through the podcast and stuff that I'm always talking about, and they come to me like, what should I do? How can I do, like, for advice? And I always flip it, because I'm like, well, I can tell you, go and do these 5 things, but you might go and do these 5 things and they might not work. So you need to figure out for yourself what those 5 things are. And it's like, at the start of last year, I released an ebook, which is called Daily Positive, which touched on 5 practices that I've brought into my life that I've, using that 1% rule, have helped change things around. So it was, I can't remember them now. It was exercise, meditation, affirmations, showing gratitude, and I can't remember the 5th one off the top of my head. But it's like 5 areas. But throughout the whole, book, I've literally said, these have worked for me. You have to find the thing that works for you. I might be saying, okay, I go to the gym at 7:00 in the morning and I go and do like a weights workout. That might not be the one for you. What might suit you better is going for a swim, or going for a long walk, or doing netball, or Pilates or yoga. Do you know what I mean? It's like you have to find the thing that works for you within your life. You can't take everyone else's mantra as gospel, because then you're not taking yourself into account. You're just trying to achieve an outcome that you're not you're not like, it goes back to the thing, isn't it, of like breaking down the fundamentals and going, actually, what are my fundamental needs that work uniquely for me, so that I can then start to see these improvements instead of going, oh, look, that guy's doing this thing. I'm gonna follow what he does because it works for him. Like,
exactly.
Work it out, like break it down and really figure it out.
Well, also sit in that and breathe within that.
Yeah.
Find out what is the mechanism within me that wants me to look at what others are doing.
Yeah.
Why is it in the external world, and why can I not find it in my internal world?
Yeah.
To make the decision. I have like an 80-20 or 20-80. So I would say I had a great mentor, and it kind of worked that way, that you'd have 20% input to get 80% output, right? So then you could say, right, okay, 5 things I want to work on, right? So that's 20%, that's 100% then. And then even within that, your 20% of things that work within a breath practice for you might be different to me, right?
Yeah.
Because you just 20% input, rather than fill it up with 80% input and only get 20% output, right? It's find almost like the overlap. What is it that I can really just, in the limited time we have, you know, because we are quite limited now, right?
Yeah. Well, we think we are.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so subjective, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
when you start to look at it that way and get systems in place, then we can stretch time a little more.
Yeah.